All right. We are live. What's up, beasties? It's me. It's Triple B. Chris, your friendly neighborhood bearded book beast, and GJ's dog.
Yeah, he decided now was the perfect opportunity to go nuts. He's been quiet this whole time.
He's like, no more of that intro, man. Get to it. So we are here for Beast Friends Forever with a very special guest, my good friend, right here, GJ Terral. Now, do you want me to call you GJ, like your author name, or do you want me to call you Greg?
You can call me Greg. I think it's fine. Yeah.
Greg? Okay.
Yeah. Greg's fine. I think what we could have done is it's Triple B with G.
Ooh,
that doesn't work. It doesn't flow the same way. Yeah, there you go.
It's me. It's Triple B and GJT.
There we go. We're in it.
On BFF. What's up, man? How you doing? You having a good day?
Yeah, long work day. Got home, cooked dinner really quick because I was like, I gotta eat beforehand. And then I was getting a little bit of writing in. Got writing done at work and stuff too on my lunch break in case the bosses are watching. And yeah.
I swear.
So far pretty good day. It's a Tuesday. It's hot again in Texas, unfortunately.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's pretty hot here too. It's 45 degrees. That's pretty mild in Michigan in the winter. It was just like 5 degrees last week, so I'll take the 45.
A 45 would be an improvement, I think, in either direction. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be okay if it was 45 over
I
here.
know. My favorite weather is like fall time, like 40s, 50s, a little sunshine, where you wear a hoodie outside or a jacket. That's like perfect to me.
I need to get a new hoodie. I had like a really good one, and
you don't get to wear them often in Texas, though.
I mean, when I was younger and like edgy, I just wore it all the time. It'd be 90 degrees outside. I got my black hoodie on it's a pullover, right? Not a zipper, just melting. But fall is perfect for hoodies, and I just don't have a good one right now. So
man, I love hoodies. I gotta get some new ones too. Oh, let's give some people shout outs here before I get talking too much. I tell you, Alex is here. What's up, man? How's it going? Thanks for being here. And Timothy, of course, is here. What's up, buddy? Thanks for being here. Happy Tuesday to you. He says he has to brag because he has a signed copy of Bloodwoven. So do I. Boom.
It's not as special as you think.
I think it is, and so does Tim. Yeah. Although I will say I don't have a signed copy of Bloodbound, though. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that.
You might need to get one. Might need to get you one.
I think I do. Oh, let's see. Ooh, I agree.
Was it not? I guess it wasn't out when it hadn't released yet, right? Okay.
No, yeah.
I'm looking
fluffy. I gotta get it. Nice and fluffy.
I don't think fluffy is the right word for it. I think I'm looking very beardly.
Yes, beardly, manly.
I grew this out for him, Alex. So you have to be nice. Okay.
That's right. Timothy says in New York City, 54, and felt like that's really warm for the East Coast. That's pretty warm. Thing about Texas, you need a hoodie because that is true. Probably when you're inside, right? That's why you gotta have your zip one. You can't be edgy and have your pullover.
Just a complete pullover and it had to have one of those like terrible graphic designs on it that's like just pressed on, so it's all sweaty and hot. Like it's not stitched in or anything.
Right. No, that extra padding that just makes you way too hot. Of course. I gotta say, man, I'm glad that your setup makes you look shorter than me, because I've had some like really tall people on lately. And it made me feel really short, so I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I'm 6'2". I don't think it's the tallest.
You're taller than me. I'm when I spike my hair up, I just barely hit 6 feet. I'm like 5'10".
Short king. That's what we call him. So you're good.
So I love it. I look like I'm like 6'6" right now. Then next.
I have a terrible slouching problem too. So
I do that.
I give riders like a pretty bad name. If people see me like working, I'm usually just like fucking hunched.
You're like those all the memes and stuff you see of like the disheveled rider all hunched over their desk.
Yeah, I have a glass of whiskey that has coffee in it now, and it just tastes terrible. It's not blended. It was definitely on
Oh,
accident.
oh no, not good, not good. Are you drinking anything right now?
I've got a little cherry Coke Zero with a little splash of whiskey in it.
Ooh,
Just
I got
yeah,
a little
because
Mountain Dew Zero with a little splash of cherry whiskey in it.
okay, nice. I thought you were gonna say Mountain Dew Zero with a splash of Mountain Dew Zero for some reason.
I
That'd
would
be
have
great.
said that if I didn't have any. But for once, because every time somebody comes on, they've got some kind of nice adult beverage, and then I just have like a Coke Zero by itself. So
Yeah,
normally I would have said that.
I was I watched Eamon's and he was just killing his stout looking beer. And I was
Oh
like,
yeah,
oh man, that's a pretty good idea. But
that huge
too
glass.
many of those are just too heavy for me a lot
Oh
of the
yeah,
time.
I get
can't
heartburn. I'm
it's
old.
like one and I'm good with like a very dark. I do like it, but
Oh,
super
I
dark
did.
like that, it's one and
Oh, I
done.
know.
So
I'm a teacher, and at the end of the year, we always do like a party the night of graduation. Like they rent out a place for all the teachers, and you like have to bring your own beverages. And I always bring like dragon's milk or something like that.
oh
The real,
yeah, I've had
and,
that.
like,
Yeah.
and I get 4 of them, and then like I drink them, and then I'm like sitting there thinking like, oh my gosh,
Why
that's
did I
just
do
like
this?
50% alcohol I just consumed. I'm like, this is not a good idea with all the people I work with around me, but nothing bad's happened yet.
That's good. The first time
Yeah.
I picked it up was for D&D, and I was like,
Oh, nice.
I was the forever DM of my group, and so I was like, oh yeah, we'll get Dragon's Milk and just like have a good time and play it one night, and like nobody enjoyed it. Like I did for the first like one, but the other guys were just like, this is. And I was like, it's not bad. Come on, guys.
Come on. I know. It's like I feel like there's people that love either like really light stuff.
Yeah.
They love the dark stuff and like the craft beer and stuff. Or you got the people. I don't know. I don't like the IPAs, the real hoppy beer. Ooh,
No, it's not for me.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it either. It tastes like I don't know. It tastes. You know how things taste, how things smell. Like really
Yes.
hoppy beer tastes like weeds smell. Like not weeds. I should clarify there. Like grass or weeds or something. It's like I don't know how people like it. I like the dark stuff or the craft stuff.
I know a few people who really enjoy it, and they're just like, yeah, it's just it's just better. And I'm like, okay, I guess.
I don't think they're like it's an acquired taste. It's not an acquired taste. A taste that I want to acquire.
Yeah, exactly. It's like for me, for whatever reason, I think it's because I grew up in like the Smirnoff generation.
Oh
Like
yeah.
when I shouldn't be buying alcohol, I was drinking Smirnoff,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so now that I'm older, if I just want something to casually drink on, hanging out, I'm a seltzer guy. I think it's ingrained because of that,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I remember those days. Smirnoff, Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Hard to go wrong. It's hard to go wrong.
I agree.
So if you don't like Bloodwoven, it's because I wrote it drinking seltzers, and that's just a bad idea.
Dang it. Well, I liked it. So, hey, Molly, what's up? How's it going? Thanks for being here. Oh, that's actually pretty good shrimp shaped when you're talking about the writer. That is kind of like a shrimp.
Well, I'm down in the south, so maybe crawdad shaped.
That's true too. Crawdaddies
surrounded by potatoes and sausage.
Oh gosh, if someone just popped in just now, they would be wondering what the heck we're talking about.
Are they talking about the Indie Ink nominations for Made Me Hungry and Thirsty? Like what?
Yeah, right. Oh man.
All right, so sorry, my phone's silent.
Oh yeah, geez, come on, man, be respectful. What's wrong with you? Come on.
My fault. I don't do too many of these anymore. It's been a minute, so.
Oh, that's it, dude. You can make all the noise you want. This is not a professional space. Don't you worry.
Whoa! Don't sell yourself short. I think your production's very good. Especially so. I was doing a little bit more research on you, and I saw we sort of have a similar birthday as far as I published Bloodwoven back in May, right? And it looks like your channel, you started, did you either shift gears or it's a brand new channel back in May?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, I just I think I like got the name a long time ago, but I didn't do my first video till I thought it was beginning of June. Maybe it was May. I don't know. It was right
Yeah,
around.
around there. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh,
Okay.
dude, that's pretty cool. Cause I remember seeing your name more frequently a little bit afterwards, in the months that, led up to us first kind of connecting
Yeah.
and interacting. And so then I was like, oh, let me just dig and see how far back his videos go. And I was like, we have
Wow.
like a very similar anniversary,
That is pretty cool. I didn't realize that. That's
Yeah.
pretty awesome. Yeah, actually, your when I contacted you and got Bloodwoven from you, I still have I have like this lamp on my desk to help with like the lighting since I'm in a storage room, and it's got like a stand and then a stem and then another stand on top, and I always leaning against the stem is I have this bad boy right here.
I appreciate that.
You just said something nice about
I think
wishing
those
me success.
cards were one of my favorite things, right?
Mhm.
Because on the back is like the full art, right,
Yes,
of
I
like the
love it.
cover.
Mhm.
And so right there I was just able to make a more like personalized note, because you
Yeah.
only have so much. I feel like there's only so much room in the front of like a book, and if you sign it and you want to like dedicate it, if they want to like gift it to a friend or something, they lose that dedication. And so I
Mhm.
thought the thank you card was just like a nice little way to possibly like memorialize it for people who
Yeah.
wanted to hang on to those, because I'm a big knick-knack collector for no
Oh,
reason.
dude, so am
If I
I.
go somewhere and I'm like, I need a rock off the ground for this memory,
I need
um,
something from every place. Yes, I'm the same
I
way.
need something tactile that I can feel and hold, and like,
Yep.
even if I don't look at it, 30 times a year,
Yeah.
it just might be sitting there tucked away behind other things. I know when I do find it, it's just like a positive memory,
And you're like, "Oh, I remember that." Yep,
So
I'm the same way.
thank you for having that right there. That means a
Yeah.
lot.
Oh, yeah, dude. I mean, and that was like the first like thing I got from an author where it was like all the presentation, like that cool big box that it came in and all the stuff on the inside. It was like blew my mind. Like that was
More
so
to
cool.
come, dude. More to come. And I know your book mail has been blowing up since then too, which is
I know.
all
I just
good. That's awesome.
it is. I mean, I love getting books. I can't say no. But I have had to start saying like I do have a lot of stuff I have to read first, but I'll show it off on the channel and hopefully I can read it eventually. Um, but yeah,
I had a
no.
question for you. Is
Mhm,
there at any point have you? Because I try to read. I'm a huge fantasy lover
mhm,
reader. I try to read as much as I can, which only ends up being a physical book a month if I'm lucky, maybe
mhm,
2 to 3 ebooks, and
yeah,
depending on the audiobook, a few of those if I'm
mhm,
lucky.
yeah.
Have you experienced any sort of burnout, and have you been able to mitigate that in any sort of way?
I haven't had burnout yet. I mean,
That's
not
good.
not like burnout from the books, but since I started this,
Yeah.
and then started trying to write again too, that I've had a little like not burnout where I don't want to do it, but more just frustration. Like I'm like, man, I used to be able to read so many books per month, and then it's like, well, now you're doing this and you're writing. Like there's
Yeah.
only so much time in the day, you know?
Yeah. There's only so much space on the table, right?
Yeah,
Before like you're at a
exactly.
buffet, you're just adding stuff to your
Yeah,
plate, adding
yeah,
stuff, adding stuff.
yeah,
Eventually something's gonna fall off that plate,
yes.
no matter how high you stack it, something is gonna fall. It'll probably
Yes.
be the eggs. I don't know why
Yeah.
you put raw eggs on there anyways. It's gonna
No,
crack,
no.
go everywhere. Um, yeah, so I was just curious about that, because
Mhm.
I've been watching more of your like life updates and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and it sounds like you're really looking forward to this holiday break, and then you
Oh,
want to
yeah.
get a lot of different videos planned out and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And I'm just like, how does he freaking do it?
Oh,
Because
I know.
my wife acts like I'm super busy all the time. I'm like, I'm not. I don't do hardly anything.
I know.
So
I don't know, man. It's yeah, I like when I started this, it was summer, so I was on summer break. So
yeah,
I didn't notice it as much, like
yeah,
because the time I spent working, I just replaced with doing this, and I still read the same. Then when
yeah,
September came, like the last couple months, it's been like, oh gosh, I don't have time to do anything. So
yeah,
like, yeah, going into next year, I need to like cut back because it's not cut back, but I have to like accept that I'm not gonna be able to read the same amount I used to, and that's
yeah.
okay, you know.
It is okay. Yeah. I can say from experience, because like being in a group of authors, right? We
Mhm.
we talk about different things, and I don't think it's any secret to say that uh, nobody has anything bad to say about you, and we very much appreciate the spotlight and just the dedication that you've put into this channel, and not just supporting authors in general, but also trying to uplift indie authors and stuff too. It has not gone unnoticed, and it's very appreciated. So
wow, that's nice of you to say.
It means a lot.
I appreciate that. Well, you guys mean a lot to me. I mean, like when I started off, and oops, there goes that light I was talking about.
I saw it turn off. Yeah, I was like,
when I started off and I had like no subscribers, I was a little awkward. I didn't know what I was doing, and like you guys just once I started talking to you, you really became like friends, and I was just surprised how like nice and kind you guys are, how accessible and just real and down to earth. So I appreciate it too, because it just got me fired up even more for indie, especially once I started reading all your guys' stuff. And I think that's helped with burnout too, is not just reading. I don't know. It's reading. I love indie books, but just reading them and then being able to talk to the authors and being in the community, like it just gets me fired up more than when I used to just read a book and then, not really talk to anybody about it. So I appreciate you too.
Yeah, I know that with your writing, you said that you sort of want to keep a few things under wraps until you get more of it hammered out. What genre are you writing in, though? Will you at least tell us that?
Yeah, for sure. So it's fantasy. So it's kind of going to be in the grimdark-esque, more like, because I love Joe Abercrombie, and a
you
lot
sort of look like an American Joe Abercrombie.
Oh, I don't know if you've heard about that.
Yeah. I mean, we can look side by side. It's not too far off.
Yeah,
I see it.
Especially when he has a little bit of the beard going on and the hair. I could see it. But just, and even kind of like your book, like I like when it's like there's dark stuff going on, but then there's humor and hope mixed in. So it's kind of like that. Like third person, multi POV. So yeah, I mean, basically it's just like my my main character is have you watched Star Wars before?
Which I think I've seen all of it.
I mean, okay, so you know Star Wars then. So I've always thought it'd be interesting, like especially with the, I mean, I didn't like the newer movies as much, but just the idea of like how Finn was a stormtrooper, but he was like kind of forced into it. And I always thought it'd be cool to explore that, like if there was an evil empire and they every time they took over an area, they took the kids, instead of killing them or whatever, they took them and like brainwashed them and turned them into their assassins and soldiers and all that. And what it'd be like for a person in that situation. So my main character, that happened to him, he broke away and now he's traveling under the guise of a harmless bard. But really he's like this, very skilled assassin guy. And he's like helping people along the way to make up for the bad things he's done, but also hunting down all these former the people from the empire. So he goes from town to town for shows, but really he's going there because there's some bigwig from this empire there and he's going to take him out. So
I like it. Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah, so that's the gist of it, but a lot more, but that's kind of
sure. It's when you have, I mean, I struggle to explain my story, to this day. And it's one of those things where when you have a book that has like different plot threads and elements and other things, you want to explain it all and you can't. Right. So just distill it as much as possible. Yeah. It's a soldier on a mission doing, X, Y, and Z. And I think I've had a hard time like marketing Bloodwoven a little bit because of that, just because I don't, it is, a lot of the reviews have gone on to say like, it's a very simple story, which at the end of the day, it is. It's point A to point B, and then things happen along the way. Yeah. But there's a lot of stuff going on around Lynn that's like actively changing as the story goes. Right. And he is adjusting, adapting, and things like that. And trying to like distill that and describe I have a hard time with that because I feel like I don't do the story service when I do that. Yeah, it just is what it is.
Yeah, so. It is hard. But yeah, I mean, and I guess I feel like I guess, I don't know, I wouldn't say simple. I get what they're probably trying to say is like, you're not going to get like bogged down and confused. And like, it's very like, it sticks to the meat and the potatoes of the story. You know, like there's awesome. All right, let's just talk about your book.
Then we'll get into it. That's not what I was doing. I promise.
No. But I was gonna start talking about it. I'm like, well, let's just talk about it. So, Bloodwoven, book 1 here. This awesome cover, which I love. Make 'em kiss. Yes. Yeah. Hey guys. So I love this book so much. I think I love your prose and your writing style. Like it's very accessible, but like you have some pretty lines in there, so it's not like it's watered down or anything. It's very good. I love your characters. I love the dialogue between them, and I always felt like there was a lot going on, like a bigger world around him. Like maybe his story for this book seemed like a simple path, but it just always felt like bigger to me. I don't know why. That's just how I always felt. So, but it's so good, man. I loved it. I'm so excited for the next one.
I really appreciate that. Yeah, it was. I forgot what I was going to say. I don't take compliments too well. Yeah, I don't think anyone really does, and the people who do are faking it. You know what I mean? Like, but no, it was a lot of fun to write, and it went through a lot of different changes to get to where the end result finally was. But that's what I was going to say. So I think one of my favorite things. My wife's not much of a reader. Okay, and I'd given her different manuscripts of this. I'd given her different manuscripts of the project I worked on before this. It's not trunked. It's just on a draft 3 waiting for me to get back to it. And she would start reading, and then I'd be like, don't even bother, I'm changing stuff. She's like, why, Gregory? And I'm like, well, because things have to change, and now that she's had the final version, she's pretty near to being done with it. And the best compliment I've gotten from her, aside from her just enjoying it, has been like, how I know you're a good writer? I'm like, how, sweetie? She's like, some of these lines are just like, I read them and I stop and I say, that's good.
Yeah.
And so she's told me that a few times, and I'm like, that means a lot to me because I'm a reader too. So, if I go back and I read it and I stop and I'm like, oh man, that's good. It's like that justification, right? Where I'm like, I'm not just blowing smoke up my own ass. Like someone else has told me they also liked that. And so it means a lot to me. So thank you. That's
no, it's you are a great writer, man. You write some beautiful stuff, and I loved so much about it. I love your characters. I feel like you did a good job with all of them, but man, I just love Lynn. Like he's so well done. Like, it's awesome. And I love the whole dynamic with the baby. Like, it's just good, man. And the magic system is so cool. So let's back up and tell me about your journey into writing this. Like, when did you decide you wanted to write a book? When did you finally go for it?
Sure. All that stuff. Okay, so I'll start from the beginning, but I'll condense it, right? Because prior to, before COVID kicked off, before COVID-19, was running D&D sessions like bi-weekly, not twice a week. So bi-weekly in the sense of like, every 2 weeks. Running it bi-weekly, sometimes every 3 weeks. And one of my buddies was just like, hey, you're so good at DMing, you should write a story. And I was like, I used to write when I was younger. I gave it up because life happened, right? And but I never stopped being passionate about it. I always wanted to write. I just had never gone to school for it, and a few different things. So, but my D&D group convinced me to give it a try. I sat down. I wrote it. I wrote a prologue. I wrote the first like 3 chapters. Each chapter was a different POV. This is my first attempt at writing anything in years. So I'm shaking the rust off. And every new chapter, I'm sending it to my mom, my dad, my wife, my buddies. I'm like, read this chapter. And I think the 3rd time I did that, the burnout was real for them. They're like, dude, thank you for considering us, but please stop. Please stop. Okay, fair. So then I wrote the next 50,000 words of that project, and heavily D&D based, like magic. Heavily D&D based setting and story. And at the 50% mark, because I was sort of writing a story about the campaign that I had ran for them, 50,000 words in, not really a lot happened, like at all. There was not really even an inciting incident yet. So these things that work is like tabletop adventures don't always translate well. You have to prune them and edit them and make them into an actual compelling story. And I didn't really do that. I thought I did that, but on taking a break and rereading 50,000 words of it, I was like, this is really bad, and I don't think I can fix it.
Yeah.
So I trunked it. I put it away. And then I started a new story, and I did not send it out to everybody. I finished it, completed it. I think it was done at like 170,000 words. Multiple POVs again, but it was a fantasy where the magic comes from the stars, star calling. So these mages essentially would draw upon the magic of the stars, and they hear the stars sometimes tell them da 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 da, and war's about to break out. It follows a few different characters, and it got really complex, right? And so my mom was like, "Huh?
That's pretty sweet."
It's called Of Stars Below, and it's on draft 3. I think it's gonna really impress some people once I get around to. But I wanted to build up trust first, right? And after the first draft, my mom was like, "Hey, this thing has some really good bones, but you need to tighten it up. You need to clean it up. You need to do this, this, and that." I was like, "Okay." So I started draft 2, started draft 3, all that stuff. And then I was like, you know what? I'm never going to get this published because I was trying to go traditional at the time.
Right.
And it was way too thick. Right now it's sitting at just shy of 200,000 words. And I need to add even more to it.
Wow.
Right, is where it's at. Because it's 5 POVs, epic fan. When I say epic fantasy, it's about as epic as it gets, in my opinion.
It sounds epic.
And so then I was like, you know what? I need to write something smaller, more compact that I can try and get traditionally published. And so I was like, okay, well, what if, and this gets revealed more, it's not really a spoiler, but it's the premise for the idea. Okay. It was like, what if, because you see in fantasy novels, people have repercussions for the magic a lot of the time. They get fatigue, they get exhausted. Oh, they don't have the energy. And so like one of my best friends he's not a paramedic anymore, but he was a paramedic at the time. I was like, what would happen if someone drew on, for their magic, the iron in their blood? So every time they cast a spell or something, they slowly got more and more anemic. And he was like, well, these would be the symptoms, da 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 da. And so that was like the foundational seed for what would become Bloodwoven, because their blood fuels their magic in a sense, right? And so then I was like, oh, okay, well, my buddy was really into Star Wars at the time too. And he was like, we were talking about rebel forces and good versus evil and what does it mean? And what if each side isn't what you say it is? And there's confusion and lost history. So Lynn was originally like a 15-year-old boy, and he was like a kid in the village that the Red Robes, that the Perusian Guard would come pick up. That story ended up not working out as well as I would have hoped, because Lynn is kind of naive in this version, but he didn't know anything. So there was less of that turmoil because he didn't have any beliefs to begin with. He was just sort of a kid. So I aged him up. I made the baby live, which was a big aspect because initially the child died in childbirth with the mother. And so I had the baby live, and I had Teal live because she died in the first iteration or two. And it just completely changed the story because of fantastic beta advice, fantastic alpha advice. And so, you hear a lot of times that I'm pretty sure it was Stephen King that said, like, write the first draft with the door closed. But after that, you got to open it. You have to open your door. You have to let people give advice. And I'm a firm believer in taking, constructive criticism. Give me the harsh criticism too. If it doesn't work, as far as like, if I don't think it will improve the story, I'll thank you for your time and I might not implement it. Because at the end of the day, you have to tell the story that you want to tell. Right. And if the advice at any point along the way had been like, oh man, you gotta change this up, and it just completely radicalizes the story and makes it something different, then you don't have to force yourself to take that. But that's the process to get to Bloodwoven where we're at now. So
Well, I'm glad you went through it, man, because it's what you landed on is awesome. It was very good.
I appreciate that.
And I did. While I was reading, I did get a little Star Wars vibe for some reason. I don't know. I could feel that a little bit.
I think it's really funny. When I first wrote it, I really thought this was a grimdark novel, in the sense of like some of my favorite authors, like Joe Abercrombie. Yep. I really loved his Age of Madness trilogy and the First Law trilogy, both of them. I just really like his writing style and the way that he sort of deals with characters and morality and things like that. And so when I wrote Bloodwoven, I was like, yeah, this is grimdark. And then the more I talk to people about it, the more I realize it's not. It's a dark fantasy, and it's more noble bright, I'd say, where like bad things are definitely happening, but Lynn is a morally good character, who wants to do the right thing.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Yep. I agree. But it's good. We got a lot of people coming in.
Oh no.
I wanted to say Corey Ratliff is here. He said shoot for 500K.
Shoot for 500. Yeah.
You're getting there. It sounds like with that one book.
Yeah.
Lamia's in here. What's up?
Oh. Hello.
Thank you for being here. Hey, what's up? It's all right. It's all right. Better late than never. Glad you're here.
You guys and your beards look great.
I know.
This beard.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
I know.
You told me not to fluff it up. Sorry.
Don't fluff it up, man. You got to keep it. Got to learn to grow together. You can't. Don't be separating it. Come on now. Look at that.
I'm gonna get some white hair soon.
That looks. Hey, I got. You can't see on here, but I got a lot of gray and whites in here. Don't you worry. That's like cool. Some people do that on purpose, so that's
true.
In style, All right, let's see. I thought I saw a couple more. Oh yeah, here we go. Hello. Oh, never mind.
I was like, oh.
Wait a minute. Oh man, this is my first. Probably a bot in here now.
Maybe. I think it's because we said the big C word. Maybe.
I think you're right.
Maybe it triggered it. I don't know.
I mean, I doubt that's a real person. So let's see. Let me get back in here.
It's actually just my alt account. Just spamming.
I knew it. Yeah. Boom. Let's see if it works. First time I had to try to get somebody out of there. All right. There we go. All right. So
only read the novella so far. Is that a prequel?
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask you about the novella.
Oh,
actually, isn't it after? Is it? Well, so you recommend reading it after.
I do recommend reading it after Bloodwoven, but not because it doesn't really change up much. It's just because the main characters of the prequel novella make an appearance in Bloodwoven, right? And so it is a little bit of a prequel. It's supposed to stand alone, but it can inform the rest of the series a little bit as far as magic. Some of the things. So the prequel novella is about the King's Noose, which is an assassin group, and they make a big entrance in Bloodwoven. And Bitter Ends was the prequel novella. It was entered into Sphinx. Unfortunately, it did not make the cut, but Timothy's Whisper that replaced God did, which it's still on my TBR. I want to get to it. I've heard nothing but good things.
So good.
And I'm so excited for you, Tim, because that's awesome.
It is. It's awesome. Well, that's exciting because I actually just got your novella because you had told me to read it after the first book. So I'm going to be reading that ASAP.
Very, very cool. Thank you.
Oh, yeah,
so good. To the Door. Whisper that replaced God is elite. Yeah.
It is for sure.
That's what I keep hearing.
And I got
tears.
Yes. I got distracted by that bot that was
No, you're good.
But this is ZB Steele. I'm pretty sure, right? Worry don't. If I'm wrong, I'm gonna feel dumb, but I'm pretty sure that's him. He wants you to pick between Age of Madness and the OG.
It's really hard. So I loved Baez. I thought his whole arc sort of through the original through the original trilogy. The First Law was super interesting. He informed a character of mine in Of Stars Below because I thought it was just such a compelling twist. I feel like I really enjoyed the character work in Age of Madness a little bit more. I feel like the characters had just a bit more depth to them, and the world was a bit more established, right? Because he did a lot of the building up in the First Law trilogy. So I think if I had to like weigh one versus the other as far as enjoyment, I would say elements of the more traditional epic fantasy that were sprinkled throughout the First Law I absolutely loved, but overall enjoyment I would have to give to Age of Madness.
Yeah, so. I would say the same. Like I love the OG characters and I love the first trilogy. It's not like, oh, I didn't like that one. I love Age of Madness more. Like 1A, 1B, real close. But yeah, I would say the same as you. And I liked Matthias a lot in the first one, but I freaking didn't like him in Age of Madness. That's because he did things that made me mad.
Yeah, he was, yeah. This is Austin ZV Steel confirmed.
Yeah, I knew it. Oh yeah, and he wanted us. Did you read the standalone trilogy?
I haven't read any of the standalone stuff. Red Country, is it Red Country?
Yeah.
One of them.
No, I haven't. Heroes in Red Country.
Yeah, I've heard fantastic things about them. I just haven't gotten to them.
And I wish that they weren't marketed as standalone. I've had this argument with people, but to me, they're not standalone. They're just a bridge trilogy because they bridge the gap between characters going from the OG trilogy to Age of Madness.
Okay.
And there's lots of little nod backs and look forwards and stuff. I mean, you could read them, but if you started there, like you'd miss out on, I don't know. I don't see them as a standalone. So I don't know. That's right. Speak it. I feel like it should be 1 through 9. You should read them in order, but everybody thinks they're standalones, so people are just gonna miss out.
Miss out.
And like you miss
like out. Yeah, that's the interesting thing about like it. Just I was listening to Dave and Scott and Sebastian, who I hadn't seen before on Mike's YouTube video, Balding. They were doing publicizing. And that just puts to mind marketing, right? How do you publicize and how do you market? And because it was marketed as standalone versus like a bridge trilogy or something of that nature, just people missed it. Yeah. But I do plan to read it eventually because like I said, I really love Abercrombie's prose. Just the way that he sort of words it, and the sort of thing that I've heard him say in conversations a lot is that like he was writing and he had a lot of floor descriptions and this and this, as the mom was like, why are you describing that? That's not how things really are. He's like, what do you mean? And then she explained and broke it down, and it's like, well, you can say that something is like this, but unless it really shares that quality and dynamic, what's the point in doing that?
Right.
You're missing the mark. And so I'm far from his level of prose, but I'm trying to work towards it. With every new project, I'm trying to improve my craft, man.
It's good. It's very good. I was hooked, man. Like there's even times like you talked about writing at work. There were times where sometimes so at my job, I'm a special ed resource teacher. So students come to me and I help them with the organization, working on like their reading or writing disability or emotional disability, stuff like that. And sometimes I'll have like a rotation where it's almost like it's their academic rotation with me, so they can work on whatever. So I'll like talk to them, catch up with them. They'll tell me what they're going to work on, and then they're just working and it's quiet. And if I don't have any paperwork or anything to do, I pull up my Kindle Cloud reader on my computer at work, and I was reading your book oftentimes during those academic rotations.
I appreciate that.
And like so it's kind of like a pod setup where there's like a main room in the middle, and then our little classrooms are around it. And I'm in one of the older rooms by the hall where I don't have a real window that looks outside. I have a window right next to me, but it looks into that main area, and there's a door. People walk into there from the hall. So like I'll always be like, I'll be on my desk or computer reading something, and then someone will walk by and I can tell they're like looking at my screen, and then I'm like, like turning it like, oh no, this is just some important paperwork from the school I'm looking at. Don't look too close.
don't read too much into this.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man.
Yeah, I at work, very much the same, right? I work in sales now, but I was doing accounting for the same company for a little while, and my desk is right at the front. Like, I'm facing you guys right now.
Yeah.
That's what you see when you walk into the building. But the beauty of that is that my screen is, then facing away from the front door and stuff. And so I try not to cheat the system too much. I am salary, but I try to just write on my designated lunch break. The time I take I'll scarf my food and then I'll just get to writing for about an hour. But sometimes if it's real slow, you just
you get that.
You start working a little bit. You get a few extra 100 words on your work in progress. Right. It feels pretty good.
That's what I'm talking about. Oh man! All right, so we talked about
argument in the chat.
We talked about your journey to writing this. Tell me a little bit about the cover. Like, was this the only cover it ever had? How did you land on this? How did you get it? Because it's a beautiful cover.
Yeah, so with Bloodwoven, I decided I'm a big fan of scenes that are having a scene be kind of expressed on the cover in some way, shape, or form. And I was trying to think of all the fantastic scenes that I could have. One just really stood out to me, and it's it's funny because it's a little spoilery, right? Just the cover itself actually is. But because when my wife saw it, she was like, "That's not how Lynn's described in the book. He doesn't have those markings. He doesn't da 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 da. Where's the baby from? Da da da." And I was like, "Oh, that happens later in the story." And she's like, "Why would you put that on the cover?" I'm like, "Because it's really such a emotional moment, such a sort of signifying moment, and that's the heart of the story when you get down to it." And so I told the artist what I was sort of looking for, Christiana Leone. She's an Italian artist. And I told her what I was looking for. We worked on, she did the sketch. She did the angle. I absolutely loved it from the moment I saw it. And I was like, no, that's what it's going to be. And I've talked a few times in, the online spaces about how, at its core, Bloodwoven is a sword and sorcery, I think is like a decent enough way to describe it. And I don't know that my cover screams that, which is unfortunate for fans that really like sword and sorcery. But it's a unique cover. It's something that you don't really see done a lot, especially having the child on the cover, stuff like that. And so it just sort of makes it maybe stand out a bit more. And I absolutely love it. I wouldn't change it. I think a special edition would probably get like a new cover, but not because I don't like that one.
The end pages though, or something. Yeah, it's so sweet.
The MacGuffin baby, as Bill said.
Oh yeah, and everybody agrees that the cover is awesome, man.
One scene that I had played with as like the sort of second most impactful because it stayed through. I told you there were a few different iterations of the story itself, but Fallow, chapter 3. Where they go in and sort of get attacked for the very first time. Having the limbs on the thatched rooftops and stuff like that had always been like a really strong image for me. And I thought that would make for like kind of a gnarly, dark cover. And if I had done that, who knows how things would go, because it's a very different vibe from what the cover ends up being.
Yeah, very different. Yeah, for sure.
But that was one that I had played with like thought-wise, but I never talked to the artist about. I gave her this prompt and she crushed it. She absolutely killed it.
It is awesome.
And then book 2 is a little more classic.
So cool.
But it's got Lynn walking through a sort of rainy, dark forest. And it's got her interpretation of the untethered on the back. She worked with me on that a little bit.
That's awesome.
And this will be your signed copy.
Yes.
But one of the things that I don't get to talk about too much, I've made a post or two about it, is the gradient on the spine. Ooh. It's such a silly thing, but it's going from black to gray. It looks a little blue, and then the final spine is going to be white. and I think that's going to look really good boxed up together.
Oh heck, I love when the spines like match like that or tell a story or paint a picture. Like I think that's cool.
Yeah, and I think all 3 covers should sort of be telling a picture, and I'll explain why a little bit. But so in this one, Lynn is quite clearly in the foreground.
Yeah,
it's a light cover, much lighter. And this one, he's in the midground. He's not. He is the forefront image, but he's definitely in the midground as far as that sense. And it's a slightly darker cover. And then book 3, the cover should be purple black, like very dark, and Lynn will not be present on the cover.
Ooh.
So it's telling, it's telling a story.
I'm scared to read book 2 now.
No, you should definitely. You're gonna love book 2. If you like book 1, you'll love book 2.
I can't wait, man.
No complaints there. And then I just did the cover for Bitter Ends myself. Okay. And it's a really simple thing. It's not fancy at all, but I am proud of it because it looks clean.
Yeah, I think it looks cool, man. It's a handsome little novella. Mine just came in the mail today, actually. So I got it. I kept it in the bag so I can show it off on my next.
Well, thank you. And then I have one more book that is.
Oh yeah.
If you like fantasy, that's fun and like witty. It's pretty good. It was kind enough to, because the copy of Bloodwoven he got from me was a signed one that I sent him, so he made sure to send me a copy. And we give each other a hard time, but Dave's great. Couldn't probably do any of this stuff without the fellow scribes. So.
Yeah, you guys are an awesome group for sure. It's been great getting to know all you guys. You guys must have a lot of fun when you chat together.
There's usually a lot of discourse about one thing or another, just messing with each other, talking about books that we enjoyed, stuff like that. So, and then we're working on something pretty secret that's been mentioned once or twice, the anthology, and it's starting to really come together. And I think people are really going to like it. I haven't had the opportunity to read anyone but Alex's because I'm behind on my reading. Pretty good, really. I really enjoyed it. Very cool concept, very interesting setting, and the characterization in it was fantastic. So super excited for the world to check that stuff out.
Heck yeah.
Dave might hear me. True.
Oh man, I'm actually right now should give him a little shout out. I'm reading Alex's book right now.
Yes,
I
have his somewhere too, I think.
Oh yeah.
I don't see it. Maybe it might be in my room. I finally got permission to move my bookshelf back into the office. And what I say back into my office. So last year, we just had to move some things around because of my wife's father coming into our home. And then he moved out, and instead of moving stuff back into the office or moving my office back to where it originally was, I was like, we're just going to leave everything where it was because we weren't sure if he was moving back in at any point. And so my bookshelf, it's mine. It's not the house's. This is where all my nerd stuff is supposed to go, all my books and knickknacks and stuff. It's in the living room right now, and we had a little Christmas Friendsmas thing this past weekend, and she was like, "Hey, why is that still in the living room?" I was like, "You mean I can take it now?" Okay, cool. And she's like, "You never couldn't take it." I was like, "Okay, so I need to move it. I got space in my little office for it."
Nice.
So
that's good. Yeah. That's good. Oh man, I agree with Tim. That does sound amazing.
Yes.
And also, I am loving Alex's book. Stories are great. Early next year, so 2025 early or next year?
I think we're hoping for an early-ish 2025 release, but sweet. I'm not sure. So maybe first quarter, but depending on the level of editing needed and how long the artwork takes and stuff, it might be second quarter, I guess. Okay. But I'm so far removed from the handling of this. Right. I just wrote a silly story. Yeah, I just wrote a story. Well, man. I say a silly story. I dug it. I really, really like because I used to do short stories a lot. And I stopped writing short stories so I could focus on longer form projects. And so yeah, I love shorts because I don't know. I feel like you can really release more of a voice in them for some reason. And so it's a little more voicey, a little more interesting.
I like it.
You know, I don't think I'm bad at voice in general, but it's just, I feel like for whatever reason, when I do a short, I feel like I have more free reign, you know, to mess around and be weirder. So
I love it. That sounds good to me. Hello. Thanks for being here. So appreciate it. Shoot, what was I going to say? Something. Oh, so is your short story you wrote, is it original or is it in the Binding Tenets world?
So the Binding Tenets, it's done. I'm not, unless there's like a huge demand for something down the road, I don't see myself revisiting the world.
Okay.
I can, but by the end of book 3, Lynn's story is complete.
Okay.
And so there's not much more to visit in that unless I go to like a different POV or something. Yeah. So this anthology piece is connected to my upcoming series, Cracks of the Deepest Black, but it very much stands alone because it's one character's sort of adventure. And her actions do have an impact on the series, but it's not something that you need to, you know, be intimately aware of the series to appreciate her journey.
So we'll be able to read it when the anthology comes out without having read your future.
Absolutely. Sweet. Yeah, I absolutely, because that was one of Alex's requirements. Right. He said it needs to be able to stand alone. Yeah. He's like, you know, it can tie into something, but if it can't stand alone, you don't want it. Yeah, which makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And then Cracks of the Deepest Black, I'm making great progress on. I'm at about 90,000 words on a maybe $150,000.
That's what we're hoping for.
Buddy. Yeah, 150,000 word outline. So I'm over halfway done, and I'm absolutely loving this world, playing with the characters in it, and it's been a blast. So
nice. That's awesome, dude. I'm excited for, because you I can't remember when it was, but you put like that cool little timeline out of all the things you had planned. I'm like, this is sweet. It's like Marvel when they do like all the Avengers stuff that's coming out. I'm like, yes.
It's just none of this stuff it's not gonna be like a Sanderson connected universe or anything, but it's just, that was sort of a way for me to hold myself accountable if I can. Because I told my wife, so part of Bloodwoven's, you know, process that I didn't really mention was I spent a few months querying it, like trying to get it traditionally published.
I wondered about that.
And I had one full request that got sat on for about 3 to 4 months, and when she finished, I guess, reading the manuscript, she politely declined because it wasn't unique enough for the current genre for the market.
What? It's so unique. I don't get that.
Thank you. But she just said it didn't stand, unique might not be the right word. She made it clear it did not stand out enough in the current market. And then I got a second sort of, I'm going to consider it a half request. It was a huge agent, like, if you write fantasy in this sort of style, getting this agent would be phenomenal because he's dealt with like a lot of bigger names. And his assistant was like, hey, I think this is up his alley. I think it would really, really be good, but he likes having pretty unique biographies and yours is sort of lackluster. So I'm going to do a rejection, resubmit with an improved biography, and then we'll go from there. And at that point I was a little discouraged because I'm like, what if I wrote something that's interesting? What does it matter what my biography was? Because I don't think I've lived a very interesting life. And I don't do very interesting things, you know, and so at that point I had a few heart-to-hearts, a few long discussions with my wife about what route I might want to take this, because I think at the quality that I write and the consistency that I know I can write, self-publishing probably just makes the most sense for me in the long run. And, you know, we talked, and I decided I'm just going to go independent and do it myself. So I don't even read author bios. Yeah,
I know. I was just looking at that. I'm the same way. I feel like the only time I ever read one is like if I read their book and I really loved it and they have like nothing else out, for some reason I'll like read about the author because I just like want more from them, you know. That's like the only time I ever actually read it.
This is a Thomas moment. Yeah, very much a Thomas the Train moment where I was just like, I was so baffled that Yeah, I was just so baffled that you know, the book sounded up their alleys to the point that the assistant wanted to let me know that it was up the agent's alley, and did a full rejection just so I would revise. Where I was like, why can't you? What? And it was through Query Tracker, so I was like, why can't I just edit it or something? I didn't understand. But I think this is the right path. I've had nothing but really a positive response in general from the community. So, and being a new author and stuff like that, the marketing budget could have been really lackluster for me. There's no way to know. And so I might be in a very similar position now if I had gone, traditional. There's no way to know other than maybe in advance, right? But it's my wife and I are doing fine. We don't need to advance. I don't need that much control taken away from me, so to speak.
Right.
So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're rocking, man. Just keep rolling.
Rocking, maybe. I don't know. Definitely rolling.
Oh man. ZB said earlier before we end, I wanted to make sure I didn't forget about his comment. We have to get a hot take that'll make people fight in the comments. I don't know. I don't have a lot of hot takes, but I'm pretty bored.
Me either. I'm not too much of a hot take guy.
We're too positive. Like everything's great. Everything's good.
Yeah, I don't think I have like even in our like scribes chat, I don't really have a lot of hot takes. I'm very kind of go with the flow. Bring the bot back. Honestly, bring the bot back, dude. Hang on. Let me log back in. It was me. It was me all along.
Bring that back.
Some hot takes.
Man. I know I feel like the only hot takes I would have would be like a positive hot takes. Like if lots of people hate something, I'd be like, I didn't think it was that bad. Like, I don't know. I feel like that would be my only hot take. Like, I usually find enjoyment in everything. So I guess my hot take would be like the things that people have really hated, like the new Star Wars movies, Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. Like, I don't love them, but like I didn't hate them as much as everybody else did. I didn't think they were that bad. I found enjoyment in them. That's as close as I get to a hot take. That's pretty boring, but
yeah, I think it's I don't really. I thought the Star Wars was fine, like the Star Wars trilogy. Yeah. It was, I don't think it did anything like that grievous, but I'm just a tourist in the Star Wars fandom. I don't know, because it's just at the end of the day, when I try and think about it and look at it, for people to feel that vitriolic about it, you got to get down to the root of like what, as big-headed as it sounds, the root of human emotion, right? And so that just means that they had some sort of either the two things. Either they had some really, really strong connection to that series,
right?
And so any sort of change they see as a reflection on themselves, that either they have to change and therefore won't, or something like that, or they just like to troll. I don't know. So those are like the two options, because they know they're not really that mad about it, but it's fun to act mad because they don't act like that 9 times out of 10. I don't know. I don't really get that passionate about most things though.
Yeah. I'm the same way, which I think is good most of the time.
It depends. Yeah, it depends. My wife gets mad at me because I often will play like the devil's advocate, just to like be like, well, you don't know, maybe they had a really good shit, and she's like, dude, they didn't have a good reason. They're not. There's nothing good about what they did, and it's like
that's
maybe
that's not good. Like if she's complaining about somebody from work or something. Oh no, you can't do that. Then you got to be like, oh yeah, that Janine, she's a real B.
She's a real see you next Tuesday, that Janine.
Yeah, that's right. You don't want to be like, well, let's look at it from her side. You did.
Everybody's the hero of their own story. Yes. Okay, sweetheart. Okay, even that's Janine. Right. I know. She insists that cooking fish in the microwave is fine. It's a communal microwave. It's fine. It's not fine. Okay, that's my hot take. Good. If you share a workspace, don't cook fish in the microwave. I agree. Don't warm it up.
No.
Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that. That's 100% true. Fish and broccoli, asparagus.
Whoa. No one said anything about broccoli.
Hey. You heat broccoli. That's it smells bad. I'm just saying. If you put that and fish together, whew.
Greg, you need to learn how to pick a side at home. I do pick a side. It's the middle. It gets me in trouble.
That is. Oh man. All right.
I think that's why I was so good at writing Bloodwoven, because Lynn's on the fence a lot about a lot of things.
True. So. It's basically just Greg. That's who Lynn is. See, he's got the beard now. Take that hat off. You got like a braided sweet ponytail going on? No.
I could maybe. We need to get Joe Lee in the chat.
Yeah, right. Oh man, yeah, he pulls that off.
Yeah, honestly.
I couldn't do that. All right, so I have a couple more questions for you.
Okay, hard-hitting questions. What we got?
Not yet, almost. But first, I wanted to know. I'm curious about your writing process. I want to know if are you a plotter, outliner, or a pantser, or a combination of both?
Okay, I would say a combination is probably the most accurate. So when I first started, the very first version of Bloodwoven had a great critique group. This guy named Eddie read it, enjoyed it, but he let me know that he was like, "Hey, man, I can tell you didn't outline this." And I was like, "Can you? I don't think you can tell that just by reading." He's like, "I can. It's pretty blatant because like you go off on these tangents like occasionally, and then this happens because it has to, right?" And I was like, "Okay, yeah, I didn't outline it." And he was like, "Okay, so do me a favor, just try and outline it, see what happens." I did. It worked out, obviously. So for the whole Binding Tenants trilogy, outline 500-word outline for each chapter, basically.
Oh, wow.
And really just trying to get themes, emotions, like specific, like if there's like a phrase that I have in my head for that chapter that someone's going to say, just write that down for a dialogue beat so I don't forget it. And then just go from there. So it sounds like it's probably very intensive outlining, but it's not. And I move away from the outline when I need to. So it's still a little bit of like pantsing in that sense where it's like, I had this written down, but this actually makes more sense now that it's gotten to this point.
Okay.
Because much like having a plan for any sort of real life engagement, sometimes things come up. Sometimes, a random soldier pops into the field and now things are a little bit different because it makes more sense for that soldier to be there because of things that happened in the previous chapters.
Yeah.
So I think outlining is usually only productive, usually only good, but when one size doesn't fit all, and you absolutely, if pantsing and going by the seat of your pants works for you in that sense, because a lot of, I think, pantsers are outlining. They're just doing it in their head. They're not putting it down. They know essentially where they want their story to go. They're just not writing it out ahead of time.
Right.
And so with Cracks of the Deepest Black, I've had, this is a much bigger story, 3 POVs sort of interweaving and intertwining the whole way. And it has been more of a mind outline where like I, for whatever reason on this, I've known exactly where it was going at each step of the way, but I didn't put down like a hard, fast outline for it.
Mm-hmm.
You just have no idea what's going on, neither do I.
Oh man, Tim's stuff is great. So whatever he's doing, it's working, man. Keep doing it.
I did hit like a 4,000 word day.
Oh my gosh, man. 4,000?
Yeah, and it was it just felt. I'll be watching the rest of Killer.
See you, ZB.
Thank you, ZB. Thank you. I actually had the pleasure of doing a beta for his project Inkling and Flame, and it's the first work of his that I've seen. But the overall sentiment was I enjoyed it, and it definitely made me curious for the larger world. So
that's awesome.
Very, very cool getting to experience that for him.
Cool.
What was I going to say? 4,000 word. Yeah, Saturday I just hit a flow, and it was hard to stop.
For sure. 4,000 page. That's crazy. Or 4,000 page. That would be crazy. 4,000 words.
Yeah,
quite a writing day.
Yeah, no, it was good because I try to keep my chapters around 3,000 words just for a consistency thing. If it's a little under, a little over, that's fine. But I feel like that's roughly like my sweet spot for a chapter, because I don't do a lot of scene breaks. I try to keep like most chapters like one fluid scene if I can.
Oh yeah.
Which I mean, it doesn't always work, but sometimes it does. Sometimes I have to put breaks in and things like that. But because of that, I feel like that 3,000 plus or minus is like a real good sweet spot for me.
Oh yeah, that's awesome, dude. So do you write? Do you make yourself write every day, like at a certain time every day, like a routine, or do you write whenever it works, or do you accept there's some days you don't write? Like, how's your process go for that?
Yeah, so I don't. Not to sound, it's gonna sound like dumb or something. I don't make myself write anymore. I used to, like when I started, I absolutely on my lunch break would sit down and I'd make myself write that 1,000 or so words, because in an hour eating my lunch and stuff, so really in like 45 minutes I can get about 1,000 words like done.
Okay.
And so, but nowadays it's just like, oh, finish my lunch, let's get to writing. So I'm not making myself do that. Where I really have to make myself write is in my home. As weird as that sounds, because I'm here, I've got my Xbox right behind me, I got my Nintendo Switch, I've got games, I've got books, I've got so many other distractions, right? And that's the key. Like at work, I don't have distractions other than work. And if you're making me choose between writing something that I want to write and enjoy, or working on my lunch break, I'm going to choose writing. Every day. So I make myself write at home, and I've sort of set like a soft goal for myself, because come January 1st, I'm going back to Bloodless, because I finished the draft of Bloodless. I got a very good alpha read from Bill on it, Bill Adams. Nice. And there's it's not like heavy edits or anything, but there's stuff that I need to clean up in it, right? And there's stuff that I need to tie it in and make clearer and things like that. And so I'm going to January 1st just go straight back to that, because my estimated release date for book 3 is May, right? And so I just need to get back to that and focus on it. So I'm trying to get up to 100,000 words before January 1st on this project.
Wow. Okay.
And I'm gonna, at this point, I'm very confident I'm gonna hit it, unless I get like sick or something. Because the goal was to finish it.
90 or something.
Yeah, I'm at 90, and so I could probably clear that in like 7 days, 8 days if I'm lucky. So maybe a week. So maybe this time next week I'll break the 100,000 mark. But
all right, that means you got to do it by Christmas then.
yeah, that's true.
I'm gonna hold you to it.
Yeah, but I also, I guess, to cap that answer off, I don't beat myself up if I miss a day. Yeah, because like
that's good.
Things happen. You can't. Yep. And even if you write a little bit a day, and you don't hit like some crazy number, anything's progress. And, I don't think a word count number is a signifier of anything, right? Because like different people have different lives, things like that. So I'm not of the mentality that like, oh, I got 100,000 words done, you guys suck and I'm awesome. It's just like, this is what I'm able to do. And maybe someday I won't be able to do that. And hopefully I can,
do it while I can. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Dr. L at Novel Insights, he had a good question that Alex answered, because I was curious about that too. So in published pages, Alex says it's about 10 pages, 3,000 words. Do you agree?
Yeah. I mean, I'd say so, because I think the industry, like roughly the industry standard is like 250 words per page.
Okay.
Just as like a shorthand. And it also depends on like paragraph breaks and things like that. That's true. Kind of makes a difference. But so that's roughly, on average, it'll be 12 pages in a chapter, give or take. And again, sometimes it's shorter, sometimes it's longer. I don't think I've ever done the like single word chapter for a person or anything yet, where like you do that to like send a message or drive something home. I don't think I've done that. I
haven't seen that for a while.
Pocket of Lies did something very similar by R.A. Sandpaper. Sandpaper.
I did it before too, and I had to tell her. I did it in a video. I like talked about her new book coming out, and I said Sandpaper, and then later I listened to it to make sure I didn't make any mistakes, but I had already put it out, and I'm like, oh, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, I knew we were friends. Yeah, we both call her sandpaper. Well, it's because she's so rough. Okay, like if you've ever actually interacted with her, she's real gritty. Okay.
Oh yeah.
But no, I want to say, if my memory is serving correctly, she had one of those sort of like hyper short chapters, and
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I think it was hers. But I haven't done it yet. I might do it someday.
You're gonna have to, now that you said that. You gotta do it once before it's done. That trilogy's done, man. Oh, gotta get it in. So you're talking about gaming. So
yes,
have you always been a gamer? Are you still a gamer?
yeah, yes.
Nice.
I think the biggest thing that hinders my writing if I'm at home is video games.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially if a buddy hits me up. You know, I just installed Marvel Rivals like a few days ago.
Big one right now.
Yeah, and I was a big fan of Overwatch. I played Overwatch for a long time. I did some ranked and stuff. And so Rivals, I was like, oh, let me give this a try. And now I'm just like, oh, okay, Hawkeye, Groot, I love them. I play a lot of Super Smash Brothers. I'm really into fighting games, shooter games, puzzle games. I like it all. Zelda, big fan of Zelda. Oh, man.
So do you do your Switch the most? Or do you or Xbox? Probably depends on the game you're playing.
It sort of depends, yeah, because I've probably spent as much time on like Super Smash Brothers as I have like Call of Duty, right? Like definitely play both. But it just depends. Like sometimes I'll pick up a new game for my buddy who's like, oh, let's get this game, let's play it. And then we play like one time and I never touch it again, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's how it goes sometimes.
So, yeah, I'd argue I'm a pretty big gamer. Yeah, I definitely enjoy it. And I'm pretty good at video games too. I'm not like super good at them, but yeah, I can hold my own in most competitive formats.
All right. Good to
Not
know.
in the pro league or anything though.
I was gonna say, man, are we gonna see you in the pro gaming leagues now?
I had when I was first doing like my guerrilla marketing strategy for Bloodwoven, I think like a tweet that I put out before I was even in like the SFFI insiders Discord was like, hey, play me in Smash Brothers, and if I beat you, you have to buy my book. And then, like nobody responded or anything. I mean, yeah, I don't blame them, but I just thought it was like, yeah, oh, dude, yeah, I just play my game and maybe sell a book when I whoop them, you know. And it just didn't work out. Nobody even replied to the post or liked it. It was one of those like
it's just because they could tell you were a serious gamer. They didn't want to get embarrassed.
Yeah, they saw this beard. I didn't have anything, but they saw it and they're like, that guy's trouble.
Oh man. All right. So what if Bloodwoven was a game, what kind of game would it be?
I think it would be sort of in the like vein of if you ever played like Prototype or
that was a fun game.
Yeah, like Infamous, one of those where it's a sort of adventure. You're going around. I definitely enjoy the sort of like visuals and like combat that you could get in a game like that. And I think that would work really well with like the magic system. Because, you know, Lynn is sort of throughout Bloodwoven, he sort of evolves in that sense. And he learns like new skills and thinks of different ways to like incorporate the skills that he already knows and things like that. And that mentality was definitely influenced by like video games and the way that like powers can level up and stuff like that. Yeah. And Sanderson's like magic system also sort of like played a part where, you know, characters, they just grow with their abilities, right? And so I tried to do something along those lines because, you know, if you only have like this really basic magic the entire story, that can work and it can be completely fine, but it can also be a little stale and boring. And so I wanted to sort of make a magic system that was always as broad as it could be, but sort of opened up with the character learning more.
Yeah. So, that's cool, man. So how did you settle on the whole binding part? Like I know the blood part, I get that. Like how did you come up with the binding part?
So part of that was the idea that's just in I felt like a lot of stories you've heard, you know, especially fantasy stories in our world, you hear like, oh, they're manipulating the weave, they're doing this, they're doing that. Yeah. And so a lot of there's just a lot of lore and a lot of times that magic is sort of correlated with the idea of weaving, right? Okay. And so that's why the real magic is called weaving, not because they're actually manipulating weaves or anything, but because that culture, the idea of it was based on a culture of sort of tribes that did a lot of, manipulation of actual, threads and weaves and stuff like that. There were, that idea with the braids, braids sort of impacted their culture and things like that. Discuss like their hierarchy and status within Danica before the Northern Empire sort of took it over. And so how I got with binding was like, okay, well, what's like sort of a form of like knot tying and things like that plays on what was already there in the nation before they were taken over. And then is also sort of like a term for like when people are being like kind of enslaved or like yoked. And I was like, binding sort of works. I was like, I think binding works a lot.
Yeah.
And so that's where I went, because it's a play on the world that was in the story, and sort of, so that's where I got with it from. So
that's a much more like very like, deeper, cooler answer than I thought. I thought you were just gonna be like, I just thought binding sounded cool. Like,
I mean, awesome, it helps that it sort of works, you know what I mean? Like,
that's cool.
It's as magic, but yeah, there's same with Bloodwoven. Like, I think Bloodwoven is a really killer title. I think it works as a title. It is, but there's layers to the title because of the magic and some of the terminology used in world and things like that. So it's a little deeper at glance, but it doesn't have to be deep. Like, someone can pick it up and enjoy it just for what it is.
Oh yeah.
So
yep, I agree. Tim number 2 is here. What's up, Tim?
I guess the other stream just ended.
Yeah, right. The one he'd rather be at must have just got done.
Wow.
I tell you. But yes, I do agree. Infamous was a great game. Did you stay to the light, or did you go to the dark right away when you played the infamous games?
It's been so long, I couldn't tell you, but I will tell you that I think I just played the demo. I don't think I played the full Infamous.
Like the one where it starts off and you're at the very beginning or whatever, where you're running and the whole thing happens and there's cars falling everywhere and you're just running around. I feel like that was in the demo, the very beginning, I think, wasn't it?
It may have been. I remember Prototype more than Infamous, because I remember Alex Mercer and going through his like storyline and everything.
Heck.
And I remember they were very similar sort of genre games. But I don't recall actually doing a lot of Infamous. So I don't want to be a poser and be like, yeah, I remember it was awesome.
No, that's okay to be. NJ Alexander here just wanted to say hi to his dude GJ and his amazing books. I agree.
Thank you.
I guess he didn't want to say hi to me, but that's all right.
Yeah, just me. Right. No, Triple B, you don't matter.
I know. Just say what you mean, man.
Hey, I've heard it on good authority. He's working on book 2 a little bit. So
I gotta read his book. Sounds so fun. I gotta read it.
I think you'd enjoy it. It was it was a pretty good read. I liked it. There are elements of it still like it's not like I've read a massive ton this year, but elements of it have stuck with me, and that's sort of how I rate and decide like a metric if like because you can read something and enjoy it in the moment and be like, okay, yeah, that was fine. But if you're recalling months later at this point after reading a lot of different things like plot beats and things like that, then that's kind of a hallmark of like a good book that can like stay the test of time. So
for sure,
definitely enjoyed it. Who's this beast guy?
I don't know. I thought I recognized you, but the guy I know is always in a car holding a book. So I don't
holding a book. That's what he does, dude.
Just taking
that's his whole thing, actually. I don't think he ever gets out of his car. Right now, he's out and about in a car. Like,
that's crazy. True. He did say he's out and about. You're onto something there. Oh, and then I did have to point out, Tim said the other stream was a shower, and he missed the notification. So I'm glad you're here, man. Better late than never.
Thank you for joining.
And yes, you did, Nick. You did set yourself up for that. Oh man.
He's in a car. He's just parked.
That's funny. All right. So my hard-hitting question. It's not really hard.
Please.
It's not really hard-hitting. But so I always think I always tell myself I want to do this on every live stream I do, and then I always forget. But so every day I do a question of the day.
Yes.
So today's question of the day was, What's the best Christmas movie out of these four? Are you ready?
Okay.
Best Christmas movie out of these four. Okay. Christmas Story. Christmas Vacation. Elf with Will Ferrell. And what's the other one? I think it's the one that's winning too. Oh, How the Grinch Stole Christmas with Jim Carrey.
The Jim Carrey one?
Yeah.
That's hard. You know, I just had this conversation at a housewarming party on Friday. I'm going to go ahead and say the one that stands out the most to me, disclaimer, I never got on the elf craze. I enjoyed it for what it was, but it did not take root in me like so many others of my generation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. That's where I'm at. That's just where I'm at.
Yeah, I would agree. Timothy was very upset because Christmas Story was in dead last.
Christmas Story it's up there.
It is.
It's up there because you'll shoot your eye out, and then sticking his the tongue to the lamppost. There's classic scenes of that film that have stuck with me.
Yes, I do love that movie for
in
sure.
Very good ways. But yeah, I just think for whatever reason, despite it obviously being very much a Christmas story, it hasn't stuck with me. The fact that you didn't have any Hallmark films on the list tells me a little bit about you, though. Like maybe you're a little, you keep your nose up at some of those flicks. Okay, there's some great ones on there.
Oh man,
I'm joking. I haven't watched it.
No, I wish that you were joking, but my wife loves the Hallmark Christmas movies, and I used to always just be able to say my wife loves them, but now sometimes when I'm reading late at night, all of a sudden I'm like, ooh, there's a Hallmark Christmas movie.
There's a Hallmark.
They're just so tropey, and I just love it.
They know what they're doing, right? Is the thing. Like it's tried and true. They're not trying to break the formula.
Yep. I actually just got a book that sounds really fun. It's called it's right. Where is it at? You Better Watch Out. And it combines a Hallmark Christmas movie with a slasher film. So it's like
makes sense.
There's like a Hallmark romance movie, cozy in this little town, but then there's somebody going around in a reindeer costume killing people. So it sounds very interesting.
I can see that being interesting, kind of fun. Especially if it doesn't take itself too seriously, like combining those two, because both those genres are like a bit pulpy, right? Like slasher is supposed to be a bit pulpy, at times, and I don't think there's anything more pulpy than like Hallmark. In the people might not consider it pulpy because it's like cozy and da-da-da. But sure. They're doing what they're doing, and they know what they're doing.
They know exactly what they're doing. Yep.
She's from a big city, and he loves dogs.
Oh yeah.
He went back to town to save his mother's bakery.
Yep. It's very true. There's always something like that. Alex tried to start something in the chat and say Elf was bad, but you already weren't into it, so it didn't work out.
Sorry, guys.
That is a hot take, though, to say it's bad, Alex. I'll give you your hot take.
It is.
I wouldn't say it's bad, but yeah, it doesn't stick with you the way these other ones do, for sure.
It just didn't get me, Yeah.
What was your favorite part in Christmas Vacation that made you laugh the most?
We just watched it, but I'm terrible at this sort of thing. I'm terrible with actors' names and faces. I'm terrible with full-on scenes. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have to go ahead and say he was plugging all the stuff in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it was so ridiculous how I feel like I'm chat GPTing this, like making it up in my head. But
creating your own.
He like plugs everything in and then like it all like blows up, right? Am I making that up?
I don't know. What do you mean by blow? I mean, it's sparking and
stuff. Doesn't
that
outlet like freak out?
Yeah, because he's got so much stuff in that little outlet. Yeah. And then he's trying to get it to work, and then his wife comes out and just flips that switch on, and it comes on. Then she turns it off, and it goes back off.
That's the scene for me. That's it.
That scene really stuck in your mind.
That's the one, man.
You said this was your favorite movie out of those four?
Out of those four. Yeah, here I am like naming like specific moments from A Christmas Story. I think I have to change my answer. It's Christmas Story.
I know Christmas Story does stick with you more. Well, my favorite part in Christmas Vacation, two parts. One is when he gets that
boss
tree
comes
that's
over
just
and gets
gigantic.
Oh.
And the electrocutes the cat. That actually is a good part, Alex. But the part where he gets that big tree and then he unbinds it, he pulls the ropes off, and the branches go flying out the window, break all the windows out, and go into like their neighbor, the snooty neighbor's window and stuff.
Yeah, the two that look like swingers.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, for sure. But just when he goes up into the attic and he steps on that board and it hits him in the face, then he turns around and goes the other way. It does it again. Like that's like
slapstick comedy at its finest.
Oh yeah. It was just so dumb, but it gets me every time. I don't know why.
That's like with completely unrelated, well, tangentially related, Click. Okay, the Adam Sandler film with the remote control. It makes me cry, dude. It just makes me so sad. I end up every time I watch it. I'm like, oh, his life is wasted. Oh, I just start.
I
just can't help it. Yeah,
I'm a big baby with stuff like that, man. Oh, it is. It gets me. It gets me.
Something about it.
Yeah, that is a good one. That's a good one for sure. I agree. All right, well, it has been an hour and a half, man. This flew by. It's already almost 9:30. I could talk all night. We got an awesome live chat, and you and me are having fun. But I guess I do need to get my kids to bed. I'm sure you got some video games to play.
I was about to say I don't think my wife's home yet, so yeah, I'm gonna probably hop on Marvel Rivals.
Game, yeah.
Or maybe I'll write a little bit. Maybe.
Well, yeah, I actually do want you to write because I love your writing. So maybe write and then play video games later, man.
I already got 2,000 words done today. I don't know.
Oh, you hit your goal for the day then. You're all right.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, I do want to go back. Something Alex said a long time ago. A little shameless self-promotion here, if I can find it. Hold on. Oh, yeah, right here. So, yes, I am getting close to 1,000 subscribers, which is cool.
Last I checked, you're at 777.
Yeah. I'm almost to 800. So
that's the jackpot number.
That's right. It's lucky, right?
It's lucky.
So yeah, it's pretty awesome. So if anybody watches this who is not subscribed, let's keep that number going.
Yeah, you got to sub to Chris. Great guy. So
wow. All right, I'll give you your money afterwards for
please do. Yeah, I already sent you my Venmo and you still didn't pay me. It was really weird. I've been waiting. So
there's still something wrong with my Venmo, man. I don't know.
I got a Cash App and Zelle.
Oh yeah, I don't have that on my phone either. Yes, where's that bot? I gotta get them back in here so they can subscribe to me. Oh man,
we do need the bots. Where the bots at? Can bots read Kindle Unlimited? Because I need them to get my page reads up.
Get them on that too.
Yeah, that's.
Thanks for coming in, Tim. And yes, I agree. Greg is the man, and his covers are awesome. I agree, 100%.
Unapologetically myself. And so if you don't like what you saw here, you won't like me. That's okay. Where we are.
I can't see anybody not liking you, man. You're awesome.
Yeah, my wife's like, no, dude, you just be yourself. And I'm like, are you sure?
Are you sure? Except for when you don't agree with her when she's complaining, then that's the only time she doesn't want you to be yourself.
Whoa. Yeah, I might have said a lot of stuff, Chris. I've never seen my wife complains. Okay, she's a doll. She's the love of my life. She voices concerns.
Oh yes, that's true. Yeah, women don't complain. I misspoke. I misspoke.
How dare you?
Oh, I'm gonna pay for that one.
You're gonna get me in trouble, dude.
I know. Yeah,
she's gonna scrub the clip and see all the times where I said she complained to find 0.
Yeah, just we'll cut those parts out. Oh shoot, I can't.
Edit and post.
Edit. Yeah, exactly. All right. So for anybody that hasn't gotten Greg's book and hasn't read it yet, after this, in the description there'll be links to his books and all his stuff. Definitely check it out because I read Bloodwoven and it's awesome. It's very good. I'm gonna be reading Bloodbound very soon, and yeah, it's awesome. Definitely read it. I highly recommend it. And thank you, man, for coming on. I appreciate it. This was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. If I could do a quick plug, just like super quick. If you're thinking about purchasing Bloodwoven, I would wait till December 26th because it's going to be the ebook, at least, is going to be part of the big r/fantasy mega sale that goes towards charity and stuff like that.
Nice.
The whole series is going to be a part of that, so you can catch all 3 currently related books out. They'll all be 99 cents for the ebook. And the novella will be free for ebook, and the 2 main entries will be 99 cents. And every purchase on that goes, I think like 2 cents is the minimum to go towards charity. And depending on how many sales I get, I'm gonna ramp and donate more. So
very cool.
Yes. So just a little plug. If you're thinking about the ebook, just wait. Do me a favor, because then it'll go towards a better cause. So
very cool.
And you'll get a better deal. So
I'll write that in there too. That's cool.
Okay.
That's awesome. Well, and you know what's funny is every interview I had, I said at the end, like, did you want to say anything else? Do another plug or anything? And everyone always said, nah, I'm good. So the one time I don't say it, you're like, could I do a little plug?
Yeah, I was like, I was waiting, dude. I was like, come on, man.
Like, that's like interview 101. You always do that.
No, you're good. You're good. No, I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that because it's for a good cause, and it's going to be a good price point for people who might want to test the series out. So
yeah, I agree. That's awesome, dude. All right. Well, everybody have a great night. And I will be back here on Thursday. It's not posted yet, but I'm going to have Zamar Amir on. He's the one that wrote Sundered Moon is a second book. I can't
Riven Earth.
Yes, Riven Earth.
Riven Earth. Yeah.
He's an awesome dude. He's got some cool covers too. So he'll be on.
I've interacted with him a few times, and he seems like such a cool dude. Covers absolute bangers, and I haven't gotten to them yet, but they're on my TBR because they seem like they'd be up my alley. I read the first. I've been reading the first one, almost done. Got to finish it before Thursday, but it's really good. You would definitely like it a lot. Figured I would. Yeah, I would. Yeah, you were right. All right. Well, there we go. So Greg's got to play video games. I got to put the kids to bed so I can play video games. And then we'll see you guys in the next one. And until I do, as I always say, devour your TBRs, be brave, be beautiful to one another, and be beastly, like these 2 bearded gents right here. Yeah, side profile. All right, everybody. Have a good night. Have a good night. Thank you. All right. See you.